I want to open this up and just share with you why I'm really excited about today's training, which is the retention advantage training. And as somebody who's had programs for years now, generating customers and all sorts of different offers, and then clients and different programs, and been through many high ticket programs, masterminds ranging from $10,000 to $50,000. No one really teaches this stuff. We kind of have to go on this journey of learning the hard way. And most people are so focused on teaching marketing and sales because that's what people think they want. But what I've realized is it's costing them a lot of money not knowing what we're going to be talking about today, which is not just getting customers, but turning those customers into relationships and connections that will stick with you for the long haul, send you testimonials, send you referrals, and it helps them get better results. And it is all about client success and retaining these customers and clients for the long haul, which isn't just about you making more money, which obviously that's what happens when someone sticks with you for the long haul. They'll continue to invest, they'll continue to renew, they'll upgrade to programs that you're creating based on what they're looking for. But it actually creates more results for them because when someone feels that this feels different, they're going to show up and they're going to be dedicated. They're going to get the results. And that really equates to them feeling heard and understood that allows them to stick with you. So anyway, I want to share with you guys before I introduce our guest expert today, one of the very many things that this person sends me. I got this in the mail and I thought this was so cool. And I'm getting gifts, not a ton of gifts, but every now and then I'm getting something in the mail, which is really exciting. And it's like just different. It's not just an email. It's not just something that I might miss. It's like I see it in my mailbox. I'm going to open it. And this was just a thank you note from Sam about joining the community and a workshop. And on the back, it just says, "We love referrals," and reminds people joining the community that you can actually earn from these referrals. So that's one of the biggest benefits, I believe, to client success is making them feel appreciated through gratitude. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people that you will invest in, that I know I've invested in over the years, just treat me like a number. And even if I don't show up, I don't hear from them ever again. So I think by doing these things, they feel appreciated and they're going to continue not only to show up and get results, but stick with you. So without further ado, today we're going to be talking a lot about this conversation of not just how to get customers, but turn them to loyal, raving fans that stick with you for the long haul. So introduce to you, Sam Morrison Wilson. Thank you so much for being a part of this and sharing
My
your
hands
expertise
are so
with
sweaty,
everybody.
y'all. And Heinz, I see you here. I know you commented it's very late where you're at, so I'm glad you're here. Thanks for making it. And here's what I just want you to think about as we start. Think about who your ideal client is and what your offer is. And if you're selling a $1,000 offer or a $10 offer or a $20,000 offer, the value of the offer does not matter. But I want you to know how much that client's worth to you. So maybe, Doug, you're selling the academy for 10 grand,
Mhm.
right? And then as someone progresses and then you have something more or they extend. I have a client that's been with me with my admin company since the very beginning. He was actually my first paying client. And when I think about him, we're actually really good friends now as well. And we were friends before, but he pays me $800 a month. I did the math last night. That's almost $60,000 that he's paid me. I say, I don't do high ticket. Oh, but I do. It's just a different version, right? And so what I want you to consider is when you're spending all this time and energy on marketing and getting people into your program, that if you do not have a structured system that will allow you to show appropriate appreciation, you're not going to do it. You're just not. And it's not because you don't care. It's not because you don't want to. It's because you are so busy top of funnel. I actually did a funny video on Instagram this last week, and it was supposed to be funny. But then after it was funny, I actually sped it up by accident in the program. So it made me sound like a little chipmunk, which made it even funnier. But what it was like, you imagine top of funnel. Everybody in marketing knows top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. What happens when you have something come out of the bottom of the funnel? It's a client, and you're like, oh, I'm going to love him and squeeze him and hold him and make him my very own. And I show him all the love and appreciation. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got a client. Great. And then client number two comes around and you're like showing them a little bit of attention, and client one's over here. And then by the time you get client five or six or seven, client one hasn't heard from you in forever. And so people say, my clients ghosted me. No, they didn't. You ghosted them. You ghosted them. And I was talking to Samantha about my funnel on my website, and she asked about my origin story. But I just want to tell y'all, there's certain things that you can learn to do, and I believe everybody here can learn to do what I'm teaching. And it's so easy to do once you figure out the process. But this is actually something that just comes very natural to me. It's, I was trying to think of, when did I learn it? I've just always understood that if I did a good job and I showed appreciation, that people would stay with me longer and they would actually spread the word. My grandmother in the 1970s in Arlington, Texas, worked for a company called Appreciation Inc., where she actually did appreciation for realtors to send out handwritten cards to the clients who bought and sold homes for the realtors. So this is just like in my DNA. It's just part of it. And I believe it's something that truly anybody can learn, but there has to be a system, there has to be a process so that as a busy business owner, you get a new client and XYZ is going to happen and you can set it and forget it almost. There's a few touch points that you would need to actually step in on. But I'm telling you, it does not have to take a ton of tech. You can literally use a calendar and a Google sheet or an Excel sheet if you want, or you can automate, but it doesn't have to take a ton of tech, time, or money. The onboarding process that I use for my admin clients when they first onboard, it's 90 days. There's 5 different touch points, and it cost me a total of $20 to do, maybe 22. And they're paying me $500 to $800 a month, sometimes for 6 years at a time. This is probably the most important thing. If you have an appropriate onboarding process that builds in the touch points that you know you're going to make, and it builds the expectations for your clients, that's critical, because if you don't help them set expectations, they are going to set their own and you're not going to know what they are. So setting the expectations and having an onboarding process is the most important thing. It's not hard. You just have to decide you're going to do it. And I always say things aren't hard. And then somebody will say, well, it's not hard because you do it all the time. And so if you could do one thing, and you don't do the cards or the gifts or anything, I would highly suggest, and this is scary. I shared it with somebody and they're like, oh my gosh, but then I have to be receptive to feedback. Yeah, you do. At my onboarding that I do at day 45, they get a form through my CRM at this point, but you can just use a Google form asking for feedback. How are we doing? What are we doing great? And what could we do better? Doing that one thing and being willing to make adjustments as needed, that will help them stay longer. Because if you can address the issue on the front end, you're able to fix it.
I'd like to share, validate a lot of what Sam is saying and admit like where I've fallen short. My first experience with a mentor that really changed everything for me. I felt like the only time I heard from that person was when it was time to renew and re-up. And we became really close friends. I moved to San Diego to be in his world and be around his mastermind and his people. And it was tough because for me, the expectation wasn't set. And it almost felt early on like we were like really good friends. And we crossed that relationship. where then it became almost nothing, no communication. And the only time would be, hey, let's jump on a call. Hey, let's go out for a meal. And every time I was trained to know that when that happens, he's going to ask for more money, even though I've gotten amazing results and would have loved to stay. Even to this day, he invites me
Yeah.
back, and I have this, my own stuff that I just can't go back.
Yeah. So I have
And
a
yeah,
personal story that's very similar to that. And this is just a funny little thing, but my daughter's 33 now. And my grandfather, we called him Pop. And I would have my daughter send him, like, color him a little picture and send it to him in the mail. And he would call me and say, "Hey, I got Sarah's picture. Thank you. It's really nice. How much is this going to cost me?" And when you start sending things to people and then you're asking for something in return, they will know that really quickly. And so it has to be genuine. It does not have to cost a lot, but it has to be genuine. And it has to do something to help make their life better, not yours. I didn't bring it with me to the office, but I have a pen that my client that's been with me the whole time. And most of our clients, if I can get them to 100 days with me successfully, and we've actually been able to do what we said we were going to do and show some appropriate appreciation, people don't leave us. I have people that have been with us with my admin company for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. But he actually gave me some pens for admin day a couple of years ago. And it doesn't say Coach Dale on it. It says your admin ninja. It has my name on it. And every time I use that pen, I think of him because I know he thought of me. And so when you're doing appreciation things, another tip would be do not put your name on it. It's not about you, it's about them. Especially if you're connecting with small business owners, mom and pop places, or people like us that are coaches and online, we don't have necessarily the budget to be able to do our own swag. It's getting a little bit better now because you can have some one-off things done. But a lot of times we're so busy taking care of our clients, we don't even think about it unless it's for a marketing thing. And so to get a pen that's purple and glittery, which I love glitter and I love purple, with my business name on it, that's an amazing thing to give, right? And so I believe that we work so hard to get clients. We love what we do. We're passionate, right? And we show up in a way that gets them to come in. People are talking about marketing and how to grow your client list and how to get people in. But I tell you, you would be hard pressed to find anybody other than me talking about how to keep them longer and get more referrals. There is a gentleman, though, named Joey Coleman that wrote a book several years ago called How to Never Lose a Customer Again. It's a very good book. And when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing the Joey Coleman before Joey Coleman. Like he
Oh,
wrote
yeah,
out
it's been a
everything I
minute, minute.
did. And but very few people are teaching this. And I would love to know what some questions are on retention. But before we do that, I do want to ask, I forgot to do this when we first started because my hands were sweating. I was so nervous. I would really love for anybody that's here and they're watching, I would like for you just to put one thing you're thankful for in the chat because I believe that gratitude is the powerhouse of creating any life or business that you love at all. And when you can focus on the good in the world and in your life, even in the chaos, that's when you're powerful. And thank you, Sandra. I see it. Tracy, I see it. Alexandra, your daughter, being friends. Aw, thank you, Samantha. And your mom, parents. Yeah. And so not one of you have said your business. You've all said something about somebody in your life, a family member, a pet, a relationship. I want you to remember that when you work your hiney off all day, every day, and you're about to die because you work so hard and you haven't even taken time for yourself. I just want you to remember that. And when you operate from a place of humanity and you start treating your clients as if they're humans, because they are, it'll just land differently. Think about this. All these mamas that just had their kids go back to school or started school for the first time. Think about this. Everybody's posting the back to school pictures, and one of your friends has this baby that's never been to kindergarten at all, and you send her a message and say, "Hey, I see you. I saw your picture. I saw that. How are you?" That's a humanity thing. It's not about having to get something in the mail all the time. It's about human connection. And there's so many little things we can do. Doug, do you have any questions? Where do you want me to go with this?
Yeah,
Because I can go so many
I
different
know.
directions.
I
Um,
think about like chronological order and people here, especially those who maybe are starting their first program or offer. Maybe they already have, like for me, I have my own offer, but there's so much I get to do right now to refine this. And I think chronologically, like, what is a really great onboarding experience for someone new that's working with them? And you mentioned five touch points.
Simple.
What would that look like? So
Yeah.
onboarding and five touch points within the first X amount of
Within the
days?
first, yeah. So here's what I would suggest. Figure out what you want your budget to be first. And if it's $10 or even if it's free, you can literally do almost all these things for free. So you don't have to have a big budget at all. So the first piece, though, is gathering the information. Without the information, you're not going to be able to do the thing. So you need to have a way to collect the information, a Google form, something through High Level, wherever is tied to your CRM. So you have to be able to gather the information. And here's the thing that you have to be careful with the form because you don't want it to feel like they're being interrogated. Ask for their address, their date of birth. I like to ask for their favorite local charity because being able to make a donation in their name, even if it's just $5 or $10, and say, "Hey, I did this for you," that shows them that you've thought about who they are. But then over time, as you're connecting with them, add in extra things. Add in, "Samantha, I know you have 4 kids. I do not know their names." That's something that I would like to eventually be able to get to where I know. So when I'm talking to Samantha, I can ask about the kids and the names by name instead of just your kids. If you know somebody, they're like a dog mom, and I saw Renee put her kitties, I would like to find out what Renee's kitties' names are so that I can include that and make it super personal. So, yeah, no social security number, Linus, none of that. But then the other thing is the second part that's really often missed, and we're going to talk more about this on Monday, is making sure once you gather the information that you have it in a usable format. If it's just in a Google form somewhere and you don't have access to it or you don't know how to get to it, you're not going to be able to use it when it matters. And I have a very good example of this. I had a client several years ago. She had just onboarded with this pretty soon, and we were still actually in the onboarding process, and she got her birthday card in the mail, and I was on a call with her, and she said, "Oh, thank you for my birthday card." And I'm like, "You're welcome." I had no idea it was her birthday, but she got a card. And so what I do to fix that is when part of the onboarding process, now everybody's birthday goes on my calendar on the day. So if I'm looking at my calendar for the day, I know when their birthday is, because that was embarrassing. And I didn't tell her I didn't know. I just went with it. But the really interesting thing was she actually decided she needed to offboard from us for a while because she was having some financial issues with her company. And I sent her a birthday card this last year with just a note saying, "Hey, when you get this, would you send me a text or give me a call? I'd love to just to hear how you're doing." And she called me, and she's a client again. Like she was ready to come back. Did I send her the card to get her to come back as a client? No, I sent her the card because it's part of who I am and showing gratitude and appreciation. So the onboarding process is critical. It sets you up for everything else. Gathering the information, knowing where to put it, and you don't have to do 5 touch points. But what I typically do is the onboarding form is a really great place to show them that you're going to plan on being intentional. And then at about 2 weeks, send them a card in the mail. I actually created a book on KDP, and my company name is Your Admin Ninja, and we have a process that I teach called the Do Not Do list. And it's a list of the things that you should not be doing because you're not good at it, you don't like to do it, it needs to be done, but it does not have to be done by you, and things that don't make your to-do list because you know you don't have time for them. So your do not do list. A lot of people talk about their to-do list, but if you have a do not do list, it makes it very easy to say, I need to get somebody else to do it. If I created a very simple workbook, I've got one over here somewhere, just a 7 by 10 or a 6 by 9 thing on Amazon that it actually says the do not do and to do list. On one side of the page, it has a do not do list. The other side is the to do. And in about 30 days, I order one of those for $4 from KDP Kindle and drop ship it to them with a note saying, hey, make sure, are you pulling back things that you shouldn't be doing? Here's your thing. And they love getting this little book, and it's $4 and I never have to touch it. Then at 45 days, I do the form asking for feedback. And here's the thing, when they send the form with feedback, I'm going to just pause. I know people are writing down. Finish your thought. We're going to hold for just a second. Whether the feedback is good or bad, you have to respond. You have to. Because imagine if you did a survey for somebody that you're paying lots of money to and they ask for feedback and there was something that happened and then you asked them for feedback and then they never addressed it. Oh my gosh. Or they give a shout out for one of the team members. I have people that work for me. I always, when we get the feedback form, I'll do a screenshot and share it on my team board and teamwork for all my other ninjas to see and saying, Andrew just got this great feedback from Minna. Getting the feedback and then responding is critical. So at day 75, they get actually a cup and a thing of cookies or something from Mailbox Power with just the thing saying, hey, I'm so excited to be on your team. And at day 90, they get an email to schedule a call, a check-in call outside of the scope of the work, just for feedback, just a touch point, just saying, hey, I want to know how things are going. What can we do better? And it's outside of the scope of the work. And the reason I do that is because the way my admin company is set up now is I don't talk to all the clients. We have about 30 clients. There's only 4 I work with. So I see 4 on a very regular basis, but the rest I don't see unless we do these calls. And so that is my onboarding process. And Julie, you can be my client. When you create your onboarding process, everything I just told you is done without me having to do anything, because I've set it up such that it's automated. The only thing that has to be done by me is when they send in their feedback form, I give them a response. The Amazon thing, I have somebody else order for me. So if you don't have anybody that can do that kind of stuff, you'd have to do that part. But I can promise you when my clients get it, it feels intentional. They don't feel like, oh, she planned this out. This is a process she created 4 years ago. Promise you, it feels personal. Eric, I'd love to hear your question or feedback.
Yeah, so this is awesome. Are you doing this for people that just come into a community, or are you doing this for people that join a program at a certain level? I'm just curious when you're doing this for your people.
So what I've been doing it, that's a great question. So what I've been doing it for mostly has been for my admin clients whenever they come in. That this is my own onboarding that I do for me personally for my admin clients. But we do it for our clients as well. We set up an onboarding process for our clients to use for their clients, which is very different than mine. I'll tell you, my husband has just started as a process server. Now, he'd been a process server for years back in the early 2000s, and he started his own business. And one of the things now, it's very different now. Used to, it was very relational, high touch. You would have to go into the law offices, get the legal papers, walk them through the court, and then get them served, and then take them back to the lawyer. So everybody, like you were part of their business. Now everything can be done digitally. Like literally, you could email me papers, I could print them off, get him to serve them, and send them back to you. And so there's not that human connection. So how are we going to get repeat business? I'll tell you how. When he gets a new client that sends him a job, we have an onboarding process where they get moved over. And in Mailbox Power, the program I use, you can do postcards. You just pay the postage. You don't have to pay for them. And I have them put on a thing to where they're going to get one over the course of a year, they're going to get 8 different postcards from him automatically. We never have to think about it. And with funny things and silly things, and not, hey, give me business, but just we've created some fun stuff. And already in the 8 months, we have almost as much recurring business for him as we do new business every month, which is really important because the recurring, think about it, if as a business owner if you have to start at zero again every month, and that's basically what he has to do. And for a lot of service-based people, that's what they have to do. They start over at zero every month. And what he used to do back in the day was there's a place in Lake Worth, Texas called Ginger Brown's, and a home cooking place, and they made the best cinnamon rolls. Oh my gosh. Yes, there'll be a replay. We'll make sure you get it. And so what he did was any law office that gave him $500 of business, that they would get a dozen ginger brown cinnamon rolls. And everybody was fighting for the cinnamon rolls. He's like, too bad we don't have a cinnamon roll place now. And I'm like, but we can do something like crumble cookies, or there's all kinds of things. And so finding out what motivates your people and treat them like a human. But the onboarding process is everything. And part of the workshop that we're going to do is everybody that comes to that, you will leave with your onboarding process lined out, at least a template of it. And the next part of the process is something I call the quarterly touch program. So they start off on their onboarding. Once they're done with that, they move in to a quarterly touch program, and you decide what those things are going to be. And literally, y'all, I do this and it feel like my people feel like it's so on purpose just for them, but I plan it out the year in advance, like literally. And you can still customize it and make it special for them because you gather the data on the onboarding form. And so one of the things is you have the data. So if you're sending something to a group of people for the holidays and you find out somebody is Jewish, please don't send them a Christmas card. And so there's still, you customize it a little bit, or you go in and you find out Renee has kitty cats. If I'm sending her something in the mail and I have a bunch of random little stickers and stuff that I have, I would put like a little kitty cat one in or something. Just make it to where they know you thought of them. If you come to the workshop, you will leave with an onboarding process and a quarterly touch program to allow you to be able to do what I do. A lot of times people do a workshop and they're going to sell you do some pitch at the end. There is going to be a pitch, and I'll tell you what it is right now. Number one, I've given you everything you need to do this on your own. You do not need me. go do it. Number two, you want to do it, but you do not have the bandwidth to do it, then we can schedule a call and see if it's a good fit. It's go do it. Please do the thing. If you need help, let me know. I want people to understand most is that the onboarding is everything. If you spent a tiny percent of the budget you have on marketing towards retention, you would not have to spend as much on marketing. 100% of my business from my admin company has come from referrals. I started out with 2 people. The first client, Dale, Coach Dale, and another lady named Deborah, and 100% of businesses come from referrals, and all the people that work for me have come from referrals too. So this isn't just a pie in the sky kind of thing. This is literally, I'm showing y'all exactly what I do. Samantha.
I just
Hey,
want
yep,
to,
Bob.
I just want to validate what you're teaching because I had somebody teach me this back in 2018. And for 7 years in my finance business that I just left last year, I never lost a client except for 2 that were not the right fit. I never should have made clients in the first place because somebody taught me that the little things matter when I onboard them. When I, even from the first time I talked to them in messages before interviewing them or offering financial services, it was I'd go to their Facebook page and find something about them that I could bring up that no one else would bring up in that type of situation. And they would be like, wow, like, how did you know that? Like they told me, it's like saying somebody's name when their name badge is on and they don't
Yeah,
even think
yeah,
about it. So I love that
yeah,
you're teaching this and also systemizing it. It's not something I've done, systemizing. So that's like huge that you can just set it and not
yeah,
set and forget, but still remember those things. But
yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm very excited for it. And I
yeah,
also built my business off of referrals after the first 2 years. I had 5 years of just referrals.
yeah,
So it worked.
yeah. Yeah, thank you, Samantha. And it is true when you know those little things. One of the things that I did for one of our group of clients, they work for a franchise and they have conferences once a quarter that they all go to a hotel and do a thing. And we had like 6 or 7 of their people working with us at the same time. And I knew where they were going for the conference. I had something delivered to the hotels for them. Everybody was talking about it. It was like a $5 thing, $10 thing from Amazon with a little card attached. And oh, that's the other thing. Amazon, dude, whenever you start doing this, there's so many things that you can have drop shipped with a little note. Samantha got something a couple of weeks ago and she didn't see the note in it ahead of time. But the funny thing was, I appreciated the fact that she knew to message me, was this from you? And I'm like, yeah, there was a note, and she found it. And doing things just because, not because it's a birthday or a holiday, but making it spread out where it's random. They feel it's random, but it's not. Eric, what's your question?
Just actually, too, first is more of just a statement. I just want to edify Sam and her commitment to this community. This is something that she doesn't have to share with us. And the fact that she's being generous with that workshop is just really cool. I know I'm going, and I appreciate that she's making
Thank you,
it
Eric.
available because it's really going to be a game changer for our businesses that we're building. This is stuff like Doug was saying at the beginning of the call. Nobody's getting mail anymore, right? We're not getting physical mail anymore. An email is just in one ear and out the other at this point. So when you get something in the mail, you're like, huh, kind of makes you think a little differently. And so I appreciate that, Sam, you're doing this. But the question I actually have is a little bit back to those touch points. Are you just pacing these over a period of time? No matter, let's say if it's like a 3-month program or a 6-month program or a
It's a
year.
great question.
Yeah. Are you just
Yeah.
pacing it so that there's
So it
touch points
depends.
throughout 4?
Yeah, it totally depends. I've created a custom GPT where you actually tell it the length of your program and it helps you space it out over the time. And so here's the thing. If you have, I'll just give you an example with my husband's business. If somebody gives him a paper to serve, he may be sells that for $100, it's not realistic to send something that's going to cost a significant amount. But when you do the things over a period of time, in the 8 postcards over the course of the year, that cost about $10 over the course of the year. And so as they then progress up and they start giving us more work, we move them to a different touch point based on where they're at in the flow. Like right now with Safe Heart Connections, when women join the community in Safe Heart Connections, part of my onboarding process with them that I do very loosely, I don't even call it onboarding, it's we like to celebrate birthdays. So fill out the form and then they get their birthday card. And then I have their address. So if I see something happen and I want to send them something else, they get something else. They get to go on a 30-day gratitude experience where I create a custom word cloud for them. And I post it digitally where they get it, but then they get it in the mail and they're not expecting it. It's on a card and they have their word cloud with all their gratitudes. And the feedback is getting a card from a free community when you join. I promise you, I'm the only one doing it. And yeah, spoiler alert, Dr. Lynn.
But that's why your community has
And
400 plus members in it too, probably.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
growing, they're not necessarily bailing out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so here's my heart for all business owners. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as somebody that's been doing this grind for so long, that if we can create our businesses from a place of gratitude, kindness, appreciation, and where we're truly doing it from our heart, we will be able to serve more people. Everybody here has a mission. We're all on a different mission, right? And when we can show up more fully and be more present with the people that we're looking at and talking to in that moment without having to worry about where's my next paycheck coming from? Where's the money coming from? And I can just serve you well, everything's different. And so the onboarding process that leads to more retention, I'll teach retention all day long because marketing works, trends come and go. But once you get somebody that says yes, if you can get them to continue to say yes, that's when your business is going to be able to be sustainable and to outlive you, where you'd actually have something to pass on. What I want you to know, though, truly, that when you can give from a place of who you truly are and kindness, that the world will be a better place and you will be able to make the impact you were meant to have.
How are you? How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Our camera's off. Is that on purpose?
It totally is. I am totally cuddled
Okay.
with my dogs on the couch and not even in camera
Okay,
mode.
I'm happy to hear your voice.
No problem. I didn't expect to get on here, but I seen your name and I was like, oh, I gotta show up. It's Sam, of course. But I wanted to just double down on what Sam is saying. Before I had a proper onboarding process, I literally had clients leaving out before they even got started. So I think that client retention more than just about them staying, it's about them committing to our processes so that they can be successful. And we get more testimonials and referrals from that. So I just really want to double down on folks taking that serious. And then the other thing is, I love you, Sam, because you're just so amazing. But
Aw.
leading with gratitude, it's also something that our clients will show us, right? Like we're not just showing them, but they'll show up in our community spaces with gratitude. And that just always makes it easier to work with people when they're coming from kindness and sweetness. But my question for you, Sam, because I'm about to sign up for this workshop,
Yes.
even though I have a process,
Okay.
I know it could be better because the gems that you were even throwing in about sending things just not on like holidays, like sporadically, I want to learn more about that. But are you going to talk us through the automation processes that these require? I do have a team, I have folks who are supporting, but I know that there's so many automation
Yes,
tools, and I know you have a CRM and stuff like that we can use to
I
make this
do. Yeah,
process
so
easier.
that's really great. So, great question. And thank you for the kind words. I receive them. So yes, so automation is possible. It's easier than ever. And it's so if you're using High Level or any of those programs, creating that workflow so that everything's tied to the onboarding form. Use the onboarding form in the program that you're using and trigger the workflows from that. But one of the other really cool things that's happened recently, I use Mailbox Power for everything. There's other programs out there, send out cards, AM cards, there's all kinds of things. But I'll tell you the three reasons now why I use Mailbox Power. One is when Doug, that card you got from me, it did not say Mailbox Power anywhere on it. All the other programs that I have found say send out cards or AM cards somewhere, but it does not say Mailbox Power anywhere. So it looks like it's coming just from me. The second thing is the gifts that Mailbox Power has are better than any of the other ones I have found. But the third reason, which really got me excited and got my team excited, is they have an integration with High Level now. So like we use Ninja CRM, which is a white label of High Level, and you can actually use the onboarding form to trigger a workflow and have it automatically go into Mailbox Power to trigger an automation there. So literally it's all done with the click of adding a tag or something. So yeah, we will talk about that, evolve. And I also want people to know that if the tech makes you squeamish, you don't have to do the tech. Like literally create the onboarding form through Google Forms, have an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet, and then add everything to your calendar. That's all you have to do. Yeah. Doug.
Yes, I just want to thank you for putting together not only today's session, but this workshop. I remember you speaking about it, and so many clients come to mind, but Evolve stands out a lot, being with me now going on over 3 years, and how little I do for our clients. I feel like I show up, I do what I feel like is required, but there's so much more I get to do for not only our new clients, but clients that have been with us and stick with us. And that's why I bought before I even knew there was a code. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm in. So I just want you guys to know I'm
Yeah.
there. I'll be there not only to support the room, but to learn. This is something I've been really wanting to do more, but in my mind, it has to be expensive. It has to be very manual because I've done these things. I've invested in these things, but I stop because I don't know what Sam's going to be sharing with us. Now I know, but I haven't known. So I'm just really
Yeah.
excited to build this out for our program and probably programs. I think we'll start with the one first. And yeah, and it's not even about just, again, retention. I just feel like it's something that'll make me feel more proud of the program that we have and the
Mm.
people in them. So I'm just really excited.
One last thing, I'll give you a nugget. Here's one of my favorite things to do. If you're working with business owners, so you're doing B2B, you want my favorite, you have to, I'll put the link in there again in just a second, Kim. But if you're watching still, you want to know my favorite thing, my favorite tip for business to business, just tell me something in the chat to where I know that you're still here, because this is worth, oh, thank you, Martini. Samantha, you want to know. All right, so if you're doing B2B, here it is. Go leave them a Google review. You know what? It costs $0. I do have a community on school. I have a thread in there where I'll be sharing out $0 tips. Usually once a week. There's so many things you can do for free. You just have to decide what you're going to do and get it done. So Google reviews. If they're a business owner and they have a Google page, that's magic. But here's the thing you need to remember. If you do the Google review, they may not be the one, your contact may not be the one that manages the Google page. So take a screenshot of the Google review and send them a text or an email or however you normally communicate with them. and say, hey, Doug, I just left you this Google review. So happy for the experience of connecting with you and your business, and was happy to leave a 5-star review. Hope you have a great day. Because if they don't manage the Google review, they would never know it. So make sure you send them the information so they saw it. $0 tips. Yep. So we can wrap on that if you're good. Unless you have anybody else have any questions? And Doug, you said I planned this. I actually did not plan anything. I was just coming to share my heart and see what questions there were and just share the best practices of what I do. And then, yeah, Alex Ramosi says he wants to share everything he can. And then when you're ready to hire me. So now there's so many people. Here's actually, I do want to make sure I say this. One of the reasons I decided to start teaching this was because there's so many people that I know that are doing great work in the world that are not in a place to be able to pay me $500 to $1,000 a month as an admin, but they can pay a couple $100 to come to a workshop and learn how to do this to grow their business. And when they get ready, they can hire us to do something for them.
Anyways, I think it's actually better to not have clients than to have clients.
The sooner you can start this, the better. And even if you're not going to join the workshop, you can still join the community on School. You won't have full access to everything, but I'm going to be posting the $0 things. So even if you're not ready to do the workshop, you can join the community. And yeah, so people say, Sandra, because you're still on my screen, you hire me to help you with implementing your appreciation program, because we do this part of what we do. And then I show you such great appreciation and you love what we do for you. And you know that I make you feel like a human and not just a dollar sign. Guess what's going to happen? You're naturally, without me even asking, going to say, oh my gosh, you have to know about Sam. And so you can set that up for you as well. That's what I want, for y'all to set up programs and processes so that not only do they get the results that they were supposed to get, but they naturally want to refer you. So Doug, you have to know, you being willing to do this and to allow me to come in and speak to your people. I know I do try and participate as best I can, but the way you have built this community to be such a supportive place and a safe place to come ask questions and to be real. When we were talking about doing this, I was like, oh my gosh, Doug, the fact that you trust me to do this and to show up and to provide value and to do this, that means the world to me. So
Thank you, and very welcome. And it's because you do show up and add so much value. And now we just get to do it in a more, I don't know the word, actual way. Like this is, so I'm really excited for this. And I'd love to ask, what can we do right now that might make implementation more fluid? Is there anything I can do to start brainstorming ideas?
yeah, I would say just start thinking about what you want your clients to feel like when they work with you. Not just the result. Yes, you want them to have the transformation of whatever you're promising, right? Whatever you're selling or the service that you're providing, that you're wanting them to get what they're paying for. But what do you want them to feel when they think about you? Because it's a famous quote, they're not going to remember what you said, but they will remember how you made them feel.
I feel like I was being spoken to.
Okay.
The whole the short story about if you feel like your clients have ghosted you, maybe it's that you're ghosting them. Like that hit. And I know that's not necessarily true. But I do know there's truth to it and there's improvement to be made. Like that was for me personally, I think that landed heavy.
Okay, good. Yeah, yeah. So I did a video yesterday about that as well. All right, Evolve, last one. Let's see you put your hand up.
Yeah, Sam, I was just gonna say, I think what stood out for me was when you talked about the client that's been with you for 8 years and what you
$60,000.
$60,000 and how you thought you didn't have a high ticket business, but you do. I thought that was like
Yeah.
it was a cool joke. It was humorous, but it also made me understand, oh, this is about client retention. And I think that you having that in the messaging
Okay.
probably would be
Yeah.
something that would bring more people in to understand what you're doing
Thank
as
you.
well.